Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the morning debrief for the 5th of May. The current time is 8:45. In fact, it's 8:15. Okay, ouch. Last night, big movements across the board. Obviously concern that's happening in Greece. Investors are not confident of the rescue package will work. We've got manufacturing data slowing down in China. Iron ore prices dropping there, down something like 6 to 7%. Expectations of a bubble forming there. Also negativeness concerning the the Henry report, and just negativeness across the board. Even though we did see some very good, some positive economic data, the market's decided to take a turn, and that in itself I think is quite interesting. Let's jump into it and have a look at some of the levels and see what's happening. Here we go there. As you can see, US stocks tumble. Ouch. Looking at it across the board, you can see that down 225 points, 10,926 for the Dow. The local market was also down something like 102, closed at 46.39. Expectations are not that positive for our market, particularly. I think we need to see a turnaround from Mr. Rudd concerning that super tax, because most of us have taken about a 20% pay cut in our supers. The S&P is down 28, the Nasdaq down 74, quite negative. Looking at Europe as well, you can see that Europe, Stoke was down 3.85, and the rug continues. The FTSE was down 2.56%, the DAC was down 2.6, and the CAC was down 3.64. So everything quite negative on top of that. Okay, so let's move on now and just have a look at some of the usual things we look at. And here we go. Let's start with what's happening there with the dollar index. Very large move there, 83.58. And as you can see, that dollar's very well bid. And expectations, I think, are for a lot of the people, it's reached resistance. We do have some Treasury auctions out next week, and that's going to be quite important to see exactly what occurs from there. So I do feel that that the US dollar at the moment will remain relatively well bid, and that's going to have a consequence across the board for a lot of our commodities. So just quickly, dollar index 83.58, little Aussie battler there under a lot of pressure. We were stopped out of our long dollars. And as you can see here, that's what it looks like. It is interesting. It does look a little bit weak and continues to look weaker. Is the US dollar the way to go at the moment? There's that fall from grace last night. We cut our positions when we broke through that 92 level. So if anything there, we've saved ourselves quite a lot of money. So quite happy on that front. Euro, we did nothing on the euro, and still happy on that. And there it is, 119.82. That does look quite bearish across the board. It still is bearish. There is that fall, and I think expectations are seeing it down to that 128.70 level, maybe even a little bit lower to the historic lows we've seen, which is around about that 124. But anyway, let's see how that unfolds. Having a look at some of the commodities now. Gold, obviously you'd expect with US dollar straight under pressure. It's actually held up okay, but it's still at that top end of the range. We moved our stops up in our long gold positions last night and were stopped out of the market just because it is at that top end, so I'm quite happy about that. Having a look at copper, copper's the only bright spark for us at the moment. We have been short copper for some time. Trading at 315 does certainly give us some good returns, so quite happy on that front. Crude, very bearish, and obviously it is a concern. Crude is out of favour. Keep an eye on that 81.50 level. They're the old lows. If we break through those levels, we could see it down to that 75. And the way I'm feeling at the moment, that is well on the cards. I just sort of feel that with what's happening in Greece, slowdown in China, that commodities will not be the flavour for a little while. And if that is the case, then I think we batten down the hatches on some trades and put some shorts on. We already are short copper, and we might look to add to that, and also short crude oil on a rally, or we might just jump in on that one. Okay, so that's crude. On the softs, pretty stable there. Good to see wheat. Wheat's holding up quite nicely. As you know, that to me is the bright spot, looking for wheat, looking for corn. All these ones in my mind are good, solid investments to look at. Soybeans, as mentioned, came back to that level. Not quite sure on whether I'm going to get on board on that, but I certainly like wheat and corn at the moment. Okay, so that's pretty much the trades we're looking at. On the economic calendar, we've got building approvals today in Australia, and PMI services in Europe, retail sales in Europe, which will be kindly watched. Keep an eye on the ADP employment change in the States. That'll be very important. And we've also got the DOE data out of the States, which will be critical. Remember, we're also leading into the unemployment rates in the States, so that will be the key to watch out. That comes out on Friday night. So there's lots happening. I think we have to restructure a few things. There's a lot happening out there in the market. I am a little bit nervous about commodities and the general state of stability. Let's see whether or not the Rudd government reverses its plans with the super tax on miners. That could be quite an interesting thing because he's not gaining a lot of popularity. Greece is a concern. China is a concern. Commodities, I would start to switch my commodity plays, and I would be moving into short some commodities and long grains. Okay, so that's about it from us today. Hope you have a happy trading. Good luck, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.